Hi everyone, and welcome to this space. On this channel, I share with you valuable information that were pulled from several verified sources on the internet. And in this video, I'll be talking about Sukuk bonds. Stay with me. What is a Sukuk bond? I want you to think of it not as a regular loan or the kind of bonds that we have discussed in the previous videos, but I want you to look at it as a way of actually owning a small piece of a massive national project. For example, like a major highway or a bridge, so to say. In the case of regular investments or regular federal government bonds that I've discussed earlier, you earn interest on your investment. However, in Sukuk bond, you don't earn interest, and I would explain why much later. Instead, what you earn is a profit from the utilization of that asset that you have invested in. The money you make comes from the actual profit, or let's say the rental income that the physical asset generates. And here's a huge point to also drive home, right? Even though it's a Sharia-compliant kind of bond, it's actually accessible to everyone, not just Muslims. It's highly secure, it's backed by the government, and 100% tax-free, of course. All the bonds I've discussed earlier in the previous videos are also 100% tax-free in terms of the profit or the interest generated. So let's do a comparison between the Sukuk bond and a conventional federal government bond. When you buy a conventional bond, you're essentially just lending the government some money, and then they pay you a fixed amount of interest based on a rate that has also been fixed. And based on these two premises, they pay you back a fixed amount of interest every month or every quarter or every year, as the case may be. However, in the case of a Sukuk bond, you are not lending the government money. Instead, what you are doing is you are buying an ownership share in a real physical asset, like a bridge, like I mentioned, a massive infrastructure that is controlled by the federal government. So because of this, your return is paid as a rental income or shared profit from that particular asset, the usage of that particular asset. In terms of risk, the Sukuk bond is actually more low risk compared to the normal bonds because it's based on the profit made from the asset, unlike what is obtainable with the conventional bonds. And when we look at it from a compliance point of view, the Sukuk bond has a very strict ethical screening compared to the conventional bonds that we see offered by the federal government. So how does this investment work? Number one, the federal government usually decides, okay, we need to build a major infrastructure. Say they need to build a road, massive infrastructure somewhere, and they don't want to take interest-heavy loans from probably World Bank or outside the country, They don't want to do all of that. So what they do is they create a special purpose vehicle, a separate company, usually called, they give it a name, and that special purpose vehicle, which in this case is a company, is the one that would officially hold this asset that is being developed, and they sell the Sukuk ownership certificate in this case to investors like you and I. The government then turns around and rents this asset from the special purpose vehicle. That's the company we're talking about. The government rents these assets from them, and then they pay regular rent from the usage of this particular asset. So your profit or your return, as the case may be, is the rent that the government pays back on the usage of that asset. That is what you get as the profit. So this is shared among the shareholders or the bondholders, as the case may be now. Eventually, when the tenure is complete, tenure is usually within 7 to 10 years. When the tenure is complete, you would get back your principal in full. What are the current rates and the timelines that are attached to the Sukuk bond? So we see a rental rate of 19.75% for the most recent federal government Sukuk bond that was released. The good thing about this bond, the Sukuk bond, is that you can buy it with as little as 10,000 naira. Regardless of the amount of money you are holding, you can actually participate and hold a share or a portion of a massive national asset. And the tenure is usually within 7 to 10 years, like I mentioned earlier, after which your principal will be paid back in full. But within this 7 to 10 years period, you would get your profit sharing twice in a year, and I'm going to explain that in the next couple slides. So how do you start investing in the Sukuk bond? What do you need to do to get yourself prepared ahead of the announcement? First off, you need to watch out for the announcement from the debt management office when they announce a new primary offer. The next thing you need to do is to reach out to authorized sellers, probably from commercial banks, licensed stockbrokers, issuing houses. Reach out to them. It's always very important to reach out to these companies as early as possible because you only have an 8-day window, after which the opportunity is off the market. However, if you are not able to catch up with any of those ones from the primary market, you can always use the alternative approach, buying from platforms like Cowrywise and any other fintech apps that help allow you participate in something like this. And finally, you can decide to hold the investment for the full term, 7 or 10 years, or you can decide to even trade it earlier than the agreed time, and you get your cash back to you immediately. So let's look at a case study of someone who is willing to invest 1 million naira in the Sukuk bond. We are going to look at this case study based on the last annual rental rate from the last federal government Sukuk bond. So if an investor purchases 1 million naira worth of federal government Sukuk bond for a 7-year tenure, let's assume we are buying for a 7-year tenure. Using this last annual rate calculation, this is what you're going to have. Every year, your profit is calculated based on the rental rate percent, and this profit is paid biannually. So you get your profit every 6 months for a period of 7 years. And if you look at this calculation, if you invest 1 million naira, based on this calculation, you're going to be getting over 1.3 million within the space of 7 years. And at the end of these 7 years, what you would also get is that your initial capital that was pumped into the Sukuk bond at the time of purchase. So you get your final tranche of profit, and you also get your capital that was initially invested. Some of the key takeaways that I want you to go with from this little explanation I've given on the Sukuk bond is that 1, there is no guesswork in the Sukuk bond. When you invest, you have guarantee that your money would be returned to you at the end of the tenure or even before the end of the tenure. You are also guaranteed that you will get your profit from the usage or rental of this asset that you are buying a share from, because it's a national asset. It's definitely going to be used, and the rent is paid by the federal government. So you are rest assured that you will get a profit from your investment. Another thing to note is that it is not exclusive. Everyone can participate in these Sukuk bonds. You don't have to be a Muslim. You don't have to be extremely rich before you can participate in these Sukuk bonds. And finally, it is a brilliant way for you to make your money work for you while ensuring your investment aligns with strong ethical standards. So that way you avoid the traditional interest that comes with other investment. At the same time, you can still beat inflation depending on the profits paid within the 7-year period. I hope you have been able to learn a few things about the Sukuk bonds from this explanation. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. I would be glad to take them. And if you found this video useful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video. Cheers.